So producing spices is expensive. It's also usually labeled consuming, bad for the environment, and much, much more. So can we produce some spices that are less bad for the environment? Well, one way of doing this might be if we take a particle and we coat them in the spices around the particle, because you don't fully taste all the spices, just what penetrates your mouth. And example is if you have a salt particle, it's only the outlay of salt that dissolves that really penetrates and gives you the taste. Now, coating this particle could be any particle, and it could be have health benefits, it could be not that much, or anything. Another alternative, or it could just be something inert and more environmentally friendly to produce. There are some drawbacks which I'll get into. Another thing is we could try to figure out how to make the same particle, the same size, have more surface area. And having more surface area means, again, more of it will dissolve and give you the flavor. Now, here are the major drawbacks of what I've said. And there are some major drawbacks, unfortunately. First of all, there's less spice in it. This means that if spice has nutritional benefits, you get less of it. So that's a count. The second one is that there's less, because there's less spice, if you're doing something like blinding or something where the thing actually absorbs the spices within the whole entire thing, there's less spice for it to absorb, so it doesn't work as well. So the salt example would be great. You can't blind something with salt anymore. And I'm counting salt as a spice, but I'm talking about flavor compounds in general. Another problem with what I said is if it has high surface area of salt, it's more likely that something loses it if it gets wet or something like that, so it might not last as long in some ways. There are some ways around this. This might be good for industrial food, where we coat food and stuff like that, or restaurants or something. It might be good for spices that you sell individually that you just pour onto something, or it could be good in sauces with spices built into it. Another way in the future we might be able to get rid of some of this stuff is that we might be able to figure out more better the flavor compounds in spices and artificially produce them. Now, if we artificially produce them by, let's say, algae, these algae then can we harvest them and we can have it much more concentrated in these particles. Now, we could have a mixture when we can't put the exact same flavor as the spice, so we dilute the spice with some of with the main compound, and we can maybe coat it. This will give us something that's in between the perfect spice and not so perfect spice, or it could lead to more flavor advantages. Again, you're missing out on some stuff, but it's less of a miss out with this coated one. And then this algae we use to grow the spice, we could do funky things with it, because we can sell the rest of the algae, because the fraction of spices is very tiny, and we can sell the rest of that algae to make plastics, fertilizer, paper, alternate, and other things. And that way we can make it a very economical thing to do. And another way to do it is if we make compounds that with surface coats release the aroma much more, so you smell it more. When you're chewing it, it breaks down more with saliva and stuff. And that way you can get much more of aroma and intense flavor with less compounds. Now, again, none of this is perfect, but it's just ideas. A way or not, and I think it should be something in the arsenal. Another way coming up is that we 3D print food, including these coated ones, it might actually give us more flavor. And we might be able then to disperse these coated things throughout the whole entire food, so it's less of a loss. Or we can figure out how to make natural compounds even more flavorful by making them stick more to your tongue or something like that, or artificial versions of like caspicin or something that's even more potent. So we need less of it. We could also try to learn how to grow spices in artificial ways, so we don't grow the whole plant, we just grow a petri dish of the spice. Now, this could have many benefits, but in general, if we put a lot more about learning about how to grow stuff in cell cultures, this could lead to a biotech revolution for growing everything from meat to a bunch of fancy pharmaceuticals to just general stuff for health. So I think it's really worthwhile just to look at it in general. Now, I know a cell culture of fungi and bacteria is very different than human mammalian meat, but there is some overlap, and the raw tools might be similar to genetic tools, the fats, the computer equipment, the methodologies to study this stuff, the funding in general for it might be help each other in many, many ways that we do not always foresee. So there is definitely that thing going on right there. And I think that's about it, what I want to say. Please like and subscribe to this channel. It really helps it out. I'm trying to reach 4,000 watch hours in a year and 1,000 subscribers, which is really hard. With your help, I can do that. So I can help with my disability and stuff. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave in the comment suggestion below. Or if you have any questions or ideas for future videos, please do that. Well, thank you very much again for listening. Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And recommend it to others. Goodbye.